We continue to follow the breaking news involving former President Donald Trump. A federal judge in Florida has scheduled a trial date for the classified documents case that is set for May 20th, 2024.
Prosecutors wanted the trial to happen this December. That is not happening. Defense attorneys wanted it after the presidential election in 2024. Judge Eileen Cannon again putting the date square in the middle, 6 months before the general election. But again, well into the primaries here. Matt Schlapp is the chairman of CPAC, and Doug Collins is the former Georgia congressman. They both join us live. Good to see you both. Matt,
Sure.
Let me go to you. Let's start with you on this. A trial date is officially set for this classified document trial for former President Donald Trump. And again, the current front runner there for the Republican nomination for 2024, the race for the White House. Your thoughts on this date, sir?
Yeah, so of course we've never been here before in our history, and there's always been a political free zone for people that are engaged in presidential politics, and Donald Trump is obviously the front runner on the Republican side. And I really don't see any way he gets derailed from getting this nomination. So now you have this secondary question, which is the trial is going on, and what will be going on, and what will be the impact of the race. And then you have this other question. Now that Trump leads in so many general election polls, if he were to become the president, while he's still under scrutiny from DOJ and maybe the state of New York and others, maybe even the state of Georgia, Doug Collins would know about that, you have this question of, with this presidential power he'll have, he's going to have to stop these outrageous, illegitimate investigations meant to politically harm him. And we're going to be in a constitutional crisis from the beginning, and it's of Joe Biden and Merrick Garland's making, and they should start impeaching Merrick Garland right now. I've never seen abuse of power like this ever.
Doug Collins, your thoughts on this, and realistically how this could impact the former president's campaign ambitions, his scheduling, and what this could mean for ultimately the 2024 race?
Yeah, well, Matt laid it out very well there. I think in the unprecedented cycle of what we're seeing here. Just another point, though, by May, and this is assuming May. Again, there's other appeals that could be granted here. There's stuff that could push this off a little bit further, and depending on how they want it, I think Cannon just sort of went to the middle. But in problematically going to the middle of the two requests, it's created even more issues. And this May date, by then the nominees will be decided. I mean, and right now, Donald Trump will be the nominee based on every polling, everything's going on right now. So this is not just a simple in the middle of a primary. This is toward the end of the primary, in which this is now getting ready for conventions and everything else. So I think it just, again, people are tired of watching what they believe, and many times is a two-tiered system of justice coming out of what we've seen this week on Capitol Hill with the Biden family. As I've said it before, I'll say it again. It appears that it's really good to be a Biden in the DOJ right now.
You talk about the DOJ, you talk about the two-tier justice system that many Republicans call out. Newsmax host Dick Morris writing a new op-ed saying people should call on Congress to stop political persecutions. Matt Schlapp, talk to us about that and really how this plays with the American public.
Yeah, so I think the most dangerous thing here, Sean, is that I see a crisis that's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. If you can be convicted of sexual misconduct from decades ago, no statute of limitations, you can't remember the year, the woman can't remember the date, she has no specifics of the allegation, it just shows you that blue state justice is, if you're a Trump supporter, you're going to jail, you're paying a fine, you're going to be guilty. And it's just a very dangerous thing. So as we go forward with these illegitimate prosecutions, and I want to be very clear, I know that's a word with a lot of buckshot. This is illegitimate. We've had presidents handle classified information in similar ways. They've never been indicted. We know about the unguarded information in the Corvette there in Joe Biden's compound in Delaware. There's no problem there. It's only a problem when Trump does it. And so I think at the end of the day, if they're successful in any of these prosecutions, it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court won't be able to duck this one like they did 2020's election.
Doug Collins, when you've got Americans who are watching this play out, and they're watching news coverage and these hearings and the testimony from IRS whistleblowers, and then you're seeing this FBI document, is there something they can do to sort of get involved and let their voice be heard and say something's not right?
Well, yes, and one is the election cycle. I mean, they're tired of it. I think you'll see this a lot in the election cycle playing out with Democrats and Republicans, and they need to emphasize, what is going on here. But the real the issue that they're seeing too, though, and I have to point this out, except for places like Newsmax and others, you don't see this really playing out. And there was a poll just recently, and probably Matt has seen this as well, that if people just go home, they watch their local news, then they watch the quote national news, NBC, CBS, NBC, ABC. 65% of them had no knowledge of some of these issues going around the Biden administration. Hopefully, this bringing out of this information is going to trigger the fact that you actually have to start asking questions in the mainstream media, that the DOJ is actually going to have to, but it's going to come when Democrats actually have to start answering questions on the record. How do you feel about this with Joe Biden and the money laundering? How do you feel about this? And when that happens, you'll start to see it. But right now, unfortunately, people are in the dark because mainstream media just won't cover it.
But they will cover what Jack Smith had for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
You'll know exactly when and where.
It's breaking
that happens.
news, I guess.
Matt Schlapp, Doug Collins joining us live. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you.